Hello and welcome to Cadenza. When you write songs, there are times when they come to you in a passive fashion, like you imagine them when you're doing something else, and there are times when you intentionally will them into existence. You kind of have to work it sometimes. I mean, if you just sit around waiting for the new bits and pieces of songs to pop into your head by universal intervention, you may end up doing very little actual songwriting. Like any creative endeavor, there are things, prompts if you will, that you can use to help inspire creative direction. These could be poems or pictures, sounds and rhythms from the pulse of the world around you, memories and other songs. It's endless. One of my common prompts seems to be, "How about?" And then I imagine a scenario or a story that I can share in song. It's the same prompt I use when I write something not song-related. I also use why and what if quite a bit. I also spend a fair amount of time tuning into the world around me. I watch people, events, I listen, I imagine stuff. No matter what type of music I'm listening to, I seem to gravitate toward what I call big songs. They generally start with something simple or on the quiet side, and then grow as it progresses into something powerful and majestic. They have an inspiring or motivational nature that gives the song an anthemic feel. They sweep you along to the point where you just feel connected to the moment and somewhat empowered. There are some awesome anthemic motivational type songs. Queen's "We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions" is a good example. So is the Battle Hymn of the Republic, or "Come Sail Away" by Styx, "Unstoppable" by Sia, or "Come With Me" by Puff Daddy. At least that's what he called himself back then. Rune Arledge of ABC Sports asked John Denver to compose and perform a theme song for the 1984 Winter Olympics in Sarajevo. He came up with "The Gold and Beyond," which aptly fit the requirements of a motivational anthem, which carried with it the emotion that could be inspiring to both athletes and spectators alike. Part of it goes, "To go faster and farther than anyone ever before. To be braver and stronger and truer and then even more. To be all that you can be and all that you've ever longed for." When you hear it, you will likely feel it because you understand what it's trying to say and why, fueled, of course, by the backdrop of the particular international sporting event that spawned it and the fairly effective production which is part of the recipe for getting music into somebody's soul. That is, if you allow yourself to feel it. Some people won't entertain the notion of listening to certain artists or musicians or genres because of their biases or whatever. I have little patience for that brand of creative snobbery. I freely exercise my right to listen to whatever I want, if, when, and as it moves me, no matter who created it. I'll do the weeding myself, if weeding is required. I have always wanted to write a big song. I'm not sure how it works for others, but despite my strong desire to write what I call a big song, or something of that ilk, it can be a daunting task. I tried several times, but my typical prompts seemed to render stuff that almost automatically felt like a cliché. These songs don't have to be all that complex, but I can be tough on myself at times. I wanted my song to have a good message, or to say something inspirational without slipping into something preachy, trite, or bombastic. Of course, then you have to pair the message with the right music. If it didn't deliver on that at a minimum, then it didn't work and I scrapped it. Or more likely, I threw it all in the box for some potential future review. Production can also be tricky. Once you write something, you want to be able to make it so that it can be heard, or at least so that it can be remembered structurally. Otherwise, what's the point? Most of the time, I'm a one-person operation. I've come up with tunes that at times have stepped beyond my ability to play them, the way I want them to sound anyway. Not many of them. I keep working on getting better, but it would be a sad exercise to continue to write music that I can't, play. That makes the production elements more important. Turning something you created from nothing into something someone else can listen to is such a cool thing. But it only works if the song is produced in a way that aptly captures or represents the essence of what I imagine the song to be. If I can't do that, the song will probably never see the light of day. In August of 2019, I was working on a collection of new and newish songs that I called Recovering Dreamaholic. It's a weird thing to work on multiple songs at once. I seem to put extra energy into making sure the songs all sounded different, which is a good thing, but it's also a lot. Oddly enough, the more I worked on the primary songs that I was focusing on, other songs would pop into my head. I guess because the creative pump was already well primed. Occasionally, I had to step away from the main project and grab the small recorder to capture whatever new thing was taking up space in my imagination and distracting me. That was how today's song, Fly, started. I had some lyrics in my head and a tune that seemed to match. It was hummable and a little sticky because I was able to recall it and work through it on the go, as it were. As it progressed, I had to run down and record a little more every time I thought of something. Eventually, it all came together, and lo, it felt like the elusive big song, or the potential was there anyway for a big song. Inspiring? I think so. Relatable? I think so. Motivational? I'd like to think so. Music which supports the message and the mission of a big song? I think so. It wasn't confirmed until I started recording. And the recording got me to the place where I decided to add it to the new collection. While the recording of the demo is close to how I imagined the song, it's not exact. I'd probably make changes based on my experience with the song that I didn't have when it was fresh. I know it a little better. It happens. When I play the song out, it is the stripped-down acoustic version, not the full-on recorded version. But I still feel like it has the qualities I like in a big song. The stripped-down version becomes the more familiar representation of the song to me, and if I ever listen to the other version, I hear things that I might change or things that I might want to add and so on, like strings or tubas. I'm not sure. So, for your consideration, my latest, closest, big song, Fly. There is an ache and a hunger. You search the glass for something more. Your feet just sink where you're standing. You're feeling strapped down to the floor. You go outside, but only to the same places. Yeah, everything you see, you've seen it all before. You don't know them all, but they're always just the same faces. How long do you stand with your hand upon the door? Run, you wanna run away, and not just to get away. You wanna fly. Soar to your better self, the one you put on the shelf while trying to get by. Reach for the stars and you might fall. That's no lie, but you know that you tried. Fly. There's a long and lonely shadow of those who came before. You are welcome to their footsteps as they fade along the shore. The path you take is yours alone to follow. You decide which challenges to face. There's just one thought that always seems to echo. Do you head out or stay here in your place? Run, you wanna run away, but not just to get away. You wanna fly. Soar to your better self, the one you put on the shelf while trying to get by. Reach for the stars and you might fall. That's no lie, but you know that you tried. Fly. Fly. Till next time, play freely.